Hello, hey guys. So I have with me here Tom Fleming, comic book artist, cover artist, comic book trading card artist. You may have seen his work on heavy metal. You might have seen his work on Marvel and DC Comics. Uh, you might have seen his work on wrestlers such as Razor Ramon. Tom, great to have you here.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
So you're gonna be at an event at the end of July, right?
Yep. GalaxyCon Raleigh. It's been my staple show. It's my closest show that I do to where I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I look forward to it every year, and they take really good care of us.
Absolutely. What can people look for on that show that you're going to bring?
So at that show, that's one of my, that's my full setup. I have everything from my framed G clay canvases to prints on photo luster paper, my full line of superhero, Marvel, DC, and fantasy art. So yeah, it's pretty much everything. Every My full line of everything, including some original art. Sometimes I even bring the legendary original art for the '93 Survivor series, the one that we spoke of in the interview with Lex Luger. I still have those paintings, so sometimes I put them on display also.
I love this stuff. I love this stuff. And where can people go again? This is going to be the Raleigh Comic Con.
Yeah, this is GalaxyCon Raleigh,
Right.
and if they're all over social media. So if you want more information, just go on Facebook or Instagram and stuff, and they do daily posts on all the artists and media guests.
Okay. And if people wanted to follow you and like see your art, where can people do that?
Okay, the TomFlemingArtwork.com is the website. Tom Fleming Art on Facebook, or Tom Fleming, but you would have to send me a friend request. And then on Instagram, it would be Tom Fleming Art on Instagram, and then I have my Etsy and eBay stores with my full line of prints.
Excellent stuff. So that's GalaxyCon in Raleigh. That's where people can find you at the end of July.
Yep, yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Ultimo Dragon Fruit. This is Magnum Suchio. This is oh man, Lightning in the Jungle. This is
El último podcaster.
Ultimo Podcast. This is you know Shun Sky Talker. This is your host. And yeah, you read that right. When you saw that title, this is not State of Wrestling. This is State of Dragongate. And I have a couple of people here with me. I'm gonna give this guy the introduction first because I don't believe he's watched current Dragon Gate like over the last maybe 10 years. But he knows of the Dragon system. He knows of Turiman. He knows of that stuff because he's a cool guy. BJ Bethel, what's up, man?
My thanks for having me back as usual, and I just want to say my Dragon Gate knowledge is very rudimentary, but I did watch a lot of the early on matches because I was out of wrestling when they started, and in Japan, and when they came over to the USA with Dragon Gate USA, but when I started getting back into wrestling, I noticed all of my favorite guys had spent time in Dragon Gate. So I'm very much looking forward to learning more about their promotion, especially what they're up to today.
Yeah, and my other partner here, the other stooge, because BJ is the Shemp to my Larry. We got our Curly here. Hey Arturo, big Dragon Gate fan, big fan, of course, of of Luis Monte, of El
I'm a huge Luis
Cucuy,
fan.
of
Yes.
Oni El Bandido,
Flamita. I love Flamita.
of Flamita.
Although that puts me in like, friend of the podcast, Octagon. We gotta Octagon. We still love you, but like, yeah, I can't deny that Flamita is cool, man. I love Flamita.
Yeah, but that's not his mask to wear, man. That's not his mask.
Esa no es tu máscara, pinche, wait. Sorry. So wait, if you're Ultimo podcaster, I guess I'm like podcast kid, I guess.
Yeah, you're the podcast kid.
I never get old. There we go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, like,
you do flares, you do all the breakdancing, and all the Joshis love you, man. All the Joshis love you.
I'm gonna say, Dragon Gate's still probably my home promotion in Japan. What I mean by that is like I can drop in and watch a Dragon Gate show, and I do more than occasionally, but like it's not as regular as it used to be because I think right now, I was mentioning it before, like I think CNL being good and me watching like 2 or 3 CNL shows a week has actually kind of like eaten into my time a little bit. And I don't think that they're necessary. We'll get into that, but I think Dragon Gate's they're in a very weird place, particularly with the top belt and the air quotes main event guy. Currently in place. And I think we'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah, and one of my favorite partners here. The reason that I podcast, seriously, the reason that I started the podcast, because he is one half of Problematic Dragon, the Problematic Dragon himself, Pump Daddy. Drew, what's up, man?
What's going on, Doc? Happy to be on this panel full of dudes that I love listening to, and look to see if we can't make some magic together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, what's that? We have a late entrant here, State of Dragongate. How can you talk Dragongate without an expert, without a guy who's tuned in, a guy who's tapped in, a guy who's locked in to the Dragongate network, to the Dragon Gate system, to the Dragon Gate promotion, the man who, introduced a whole group of people during the pandemic and post-pandemic to my favorite wrestling promotion, Dragon Gate. We have here one of the best pro wrestling YouTubers going today, my favorite one. We have Gutsdozer in the building. Oh my God.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey,
Flatter me.
For a second, I thought Larry was going to say we had Shima on. I was like, what?
Oh, hey.
Hey,
like that recent news of SEMA, I think like it was at Magnum Tokyo and SEMA, and then they kind of came to an understanding.
And Shima, basically, they're talking about coming in.
Yeah. But
by the way, I'm gonna throw a shout out. Some of the Gutsdozer stuff. There's Dragon Gate stuff, but I also really love some of the stuff like the Boom Boom Satellites video that's on your page. I really love that video.
Oh yeah, I'm actually going to Japan in October to see the Spellbound cover a bunch of Boom Boom Satellite stuff on his on the 10th anniversary of his death. So that's going to be a really huge show.
Yeah, there's a lot of lore in your channel. I love, and we're going to talk a little bit on Ultima, but I think the Masquerade video, I think is how I first got introduced to your channel, and it's for a guy who falls into Dragon Gate, having you as a guy that's really helpful, because sometimes hey, who is that guy? Oh, this.
Well, I was like, when I started that, it was kind of like I wanted to. I noticed that they were doing a lot of good stuff, and I just sort of thought well, there's nobody who's really talking about this. There's some people who cover other stuff that they're also covering it kind of on the side, but there's nobody who's really doing it exclusively. I mean, there's podcasts about it, but nobody's doing YouTube content about it. So I'm I come from the film industry, so this is like video editing is stuff that I do by trade. So something I started thinking about was well, I want to kind of be the guide that I didn't have. If I was just getting into it now, what would I want to hear from somebody getting into this who needs to know the whole roster and what it's all about, and the lucha inspiration and the masks and all that. So that was kind of my motivation for doing that. And also just pandemic quarantine, I had nothing to do for an entire year.
Oh yeah.
I remember that. Yes.
Yes, I think when it comes to Dragon Gate, I always say this on every show because it kind of snuck up on us here, but it's the 30th anniversary of the founding of Toruman Mexico Gym, 1996, with the first class. Right. We know all about them. You know, your Sema, Dragon Kid, Suwa, all of them, right? All of them. Genki Horiguchi, Stalker Ichikawa. Oh man, my favorite guy, Stalker Ichikawa. I was surprised, right? I was surprised that it's a 30 years of Dragon Gate, and people have been just sort of quiet about that. Like even the guys over, we talk about podcasts. Case Low had opened the Voice Gate. It's not really been something people have been talking about the Dragon system and that, because I understand Dragon Gate itself started 2004. And Ultimo went to WWE and all that stuff. But
I think we'll get the big anniversary stuff in 2029 because it'll be the founding of Toryumon.
Right.
In Japan, at least.
Yeah. And
or next year with Toryumon Mexico. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
A lot of things is kind of the Dragon Gate's an awkward promotion because it's a large promotion that a lot of people know about, but I don't think that there's as an online presence. It's a very niche thing that we all kind of just circle around and kind of keep to ourselves as this little baby that we kind of treat. Because for one reason or another, right, is Dragon Gate fans are often the last people to try to promote Dragon Gate, which I think is a kind of an awkward thing, is if you go to Cage Match, there's not a lot of votes. We don't talk about it. We're not spamming boards. We do a bad job of saying, hey, you need to watch X show and harping on it. We kind of let it sway to the side as this little thing that we all get to enjoy. And at some point that probably needs to change. I don't know if this moment is the moment in time. I've spent a period of time waiting for them to really hit some high marks before I really start shouting at the sky, and it just hasn't got there yet.
I think I get this interesting perspective. I've been doing a lot of historical dives on Mexico, and I feel like they're kind of an extension of the northern Mexico lucha tradition. And I said the northern Mexico, it's like north.
That's interesting.
North of the Distrito, because historically there's a lot of wrestling going on in the northern part of Mexico, and a lot of those guys are guys who they do it, they go all over the place, but it's not on TV, right? It happens, it draws, but it's more regional thing. They're fine with it. It doesn't really it's fine living in its own bubble. It goes everywhere, right? It's the whole thing. You'll see these guys working Juarez or working the Lagunero territories, or working, and you see these guys who have these careers, and they also have doing this thing on the Espantos. And the guy from Espantos, after the Espanto 1 died, he just went back. He had his auto store. And I was looking at Pareja Fantasia, and one of the guys is a chiropractor. Dr. Boucher, some of these guys, they all have other careers.
Roy Lucier's chiropractor is El Dandy. So
El Dandy, yeah. So it's or things Hechicero, I think was a high school teacher, right? Things and they all have this whole kind of other life, and they do the wrestling thing, but it's it's basically kind of more of a job thing and more of a kind of, as opposed to being kind of this whole big thing. And I think that kind of plays into how that is. It's the indie lucha, northern Mexico kind of culture. Because, Dragon Gate, so people who are not familiar, is Dragon Gate's a promotion in Japan that just goes everywhere, right? They're the one that kind of plays all the locals, right?
Right.
But they're it makes them kind of broader but smaller, kind of.
Yeah, they're pretty much the only promotion in Japan that tours everywhere in the country. Most other ones stick to bigger markets, and there are a lot of small towns where they're the only wrestling that runs there. Other than locals sometimes, but there are a few towns they go to where I think that's the only wrestling they ever get.
Yeah, some of the great Dragon Gate shows I've ever seen are the ones where it's coming from a high school.
There's that one that's in a warehouse where there's always the big trucks parked in the background. I really like that.
I like that. it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
It gives them the feel of that, like the big Mexican indie lucha. I forget the one with that everyone was watching with Bandito, like the outlaw kind of lucha stuff, where it's just happening in this town. It's like this big kind of like into it mentality. It's always people that are into it. It gives like this very particular feel.
The 10,000 pesos match was like held like in a place that was cut. That also had like all those things that you see on the back of a train, like all these trailers in the background.
It's also interesting that a lot of the guys who come over are guys who are from that tradition, right? You get guys from lucha guys from the north, or the guys who can't get booked for whatever reason.
The Panther Brothers, notably.
Yes. And so it gives it that feeling. I think that's kind of why. But again, it's not one of these like it's not like Big Japan or something, right? It's not like a super shitty indie. It is something that is kind of.
It's in its own world.
It's in its own world, and it has like a legacy like of great professional wrestlers that come from it. So like it has that legacy, and it's also like, but it also is seen as like smaller time. You know, we all read the jokes. Oh, they did a 2,500. Was that a real 2,500 or was that a Dragon Gate 2,500? And
which there's some fairness to that, but to say that your favorite promotion isn't juicing their numbers is kind of a fallacy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to hear that from people that are like, no. My favorite promotion definitely recorded the accurate number. Okay.
like somebody who's watching Marigold or something. Don't come at me with like about numbers.
Oh man.
Don't please.
Come on, brother.
No, there was a span of years where like every.
I just want to say this. You guys were talking about how they're willing to tour to smaller towns and things like that. I think that's one reason when you watch them on video, it's hard to tell if a dragon, sometimes, at least to me, and this is one thing I thought was interesting, is usually for promotions in the United States or for promotions, it could be a Japanese or American country, but if they're in a company, but if they're in Japan or if they're in America, you can immediately tell where they're at based on the arena. With Dragon Gate, with them doing the smaller towns and stuff, I felt like these shows look normal in the U.S. or if they're in Japan. And I know, of course, Dragon Gate USA came later, but I always felt it like, Arturo was saying, I believe it was Arturo saying, this wasn't an indie or a shitty indie like that or anything like that. But I always felt they had that feel to it, like of a very good indie or of like an ECW when it was, and stuff. And I think that was really important to that presentation. It made it feel raw or more punk rock. Well, maybe that helped with American fans. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but at least that's how it felt. That's a vibe I got from it.
Does it not feel like PWG at times, minus some of the...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I always bring it back to Puerto Rico because I'm Puerto Rican, but it reminds me of the way that the local promotion of Puerto Rico would tour every town on the island. Every town on the island has like a basketball team, so they have like these 5,000 attendance arenas, so they would like take the match and like they would they made the promos and they're gonna hit all the towns and they're gonna hit all the high schools, and you'll see these matches in Puerto Rico when it's like you can see like there's the Funk Wyndham match where they're like they're fighting, you can see the basketball courts, right? They're throwing each other into basketball,
right?
And that is an element that I love about Dragon Gate because just they just I've seen Muda matches in Puerto Rico, even like in Sabio, and it's a gym, right? They're like there's mats on the outside. It's like the rollout, the rollout bleachers, the rollout wooden bleachers. You know what I mean? Like there's the wall bleachers, and they pull them out, and they pull them back in so they can like do gymnastics. That kind of deal, and I just love that. That's an aesthetic I kind of love.
Pump said the magic 3 letters for me because Pump knows yes, PWG.
Right.
Like that's really I did watch two Riemann tapes because they came out like 99 whatever. The Mexico tapes I got them at a swap meet. That's how that's how deep I go with that. But my first introduction to a lot of these guys was in WSX, and thanks to WXS bookings was also they would work the PWG shows. And so like I would see, Shingo, Sima, I would see Stalker Ichikawa have a before the show starts match with Sima with Sumo Dandy Fuji holding his bag of Carl's Jr. refereeing the match between them. I would see, so they would come here, work that, because that was like after the ROH show, so they'd have that presence here. But ROH had that weird thing where they kind of like lost that exclusivity because they worked with Pro Wrestling Noah at the time too. So PWG worked out here on the West Coast, and it was a perfect fit for them because they're already coming over for WSX. And dude, getting to see Speed Muscle versus Young Bucks in 2008, like,
oh wow,
and and like getting to see like these guys come in, and then like it was also in the reverse. So we'd see the guys, Kevin Steen, El Generico. Yeah, I'm naming El Generico. The Young Bucks, Human Tornado, Jack Evans. They'd go over to from PWG over to Dragon Gate and have these show runs. Pac was discovered by SEMA when he was doing PWG as a small skinny guy. Went to Japan, came back, and we called him Pac Lesnar because you look at him, like even to this day.
That's actually kind of weird. The fact that like Pac went to Japan and got sold.
Yeah.
It's just because they work at such a high level.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. He got hit with the special laser beam cannon, and SEMA got his work and his hands onto him, and
Well, what happened was is Wanderlei Silva's lunchbox. They found it in his old Pride locker there, and Pac's like, "Hey, this stuff's got a lot of preservatives, And
it's good vitamins. It's good, you take your vitamins, you say your prayers, and you end up looking like Pac, like Tony Nese, like Ricochet. It's normal. I was
going to say somebody gave Pac a Sentai.
Oh yeah, you had Rita Repulsa throw down the wand, and then that's what Pac happened to Pac. But like we're talking about a little bit about the history of Dragon Gate right now, and it's like this period in the 2000s where Dragon Gate had that they had that tremendous 10-man tag team match for WrestleMania weekend, right? And a lot of people said that match was game changing, and I say this on every show. Arturo can speak to it. I always say the modern style, what everybody does for every trios, every multi-man match, it all comes from that match and from Dragon Gate and everybody wanting to recreate those kind of moments. You do not have the Shield without that match in Ring of Honor, without Dragon Gate. You don't have Kenny Omega. You don't have you don't have the Young Bucks learn how to do this style without Dragon Gate. And I think a lot of people sort of brush Dragon Gate aside, but look at their influence. Look at the guys who came through, even guys like John Moxley, Johnny Gargano in the US. It's
Brody Lee.
It's just Brody Lee.
Oh God, Brody's match. Brody's. I will say this. I think maybe my favorite Dragon Gate matches are the ones with Brody, because he's just
Blood
a
Warriors
wrecking
era. Brody was unstoppable.
Crazy.
Yeah. I remember watching those matches, and I'm like, someone told me, he goes, my brother was watching, and he was back into this before I was, because I took a 10-year break after some friend of mine died in the business. So I'm watching, I see WK9, I'm like, holy shit, this Nakamura, Tanahashi, these guys are nuts. And I'm starting to watch a little bit, and he starts sending me some WWE stuff. He goes, remember that Luke Harper guy was with Danielson and the Rotunda's kid and all this? I'm like, yeah, he's just kind of big guy. He goes, well, watch this match. So he sends me him, and I think it was Pac and Dragon Gate. And maybe it was Pac. I don't know. And I'm like, how is this the same human being? I'm like, I'm just like, what it was, it almost shattered me a little bit. Because I'm like, I've been out of this for 10 years, and WWE still doesn't know how to use a talented athlete. Mm-hmm. But it just showed this was a guy who was it's kind of sad, because it's we could have had that guy. We had that guy in AEW.
It is a thing with Brody, which is this really sad. Brody, there's a lot of sad with Brody. I think the roster that Tony put together after and he could have based for. And you look at what Bobby was doing, and I think you can kind of point and see, hey man, he would have had just right on the line. and he really wasn't working with those guys. Imagine him working with like Commander. We just saw Commander.
They were kind of really building him as one. They wanted him to be they wanted to build him as this big, the Stan Hansen type, but they would have worked him into that as he got into the main event in the world title scene. And that's it's what's crazy to me is we're talking about, this is a guy who still had so much amazing stuff. And he was part of one of the most hysterically funny and on probably one of the most deep stables ever. The Dark Order thing wasn't just a parody, it was a parody of WWE. It was a parody of cults. It was a parody of a modern corporation and business. It was a parody of the wrestling business. There was like so much amazing stuff he was part of with that. But then you look back and think, wow, this is what he gets. And it's
but
like
at the same time, he was also terrifying.
Yes, at the same time, like legit, you could just like that was what made it work. It was that he legit was like, okay, you got a guy like John Silver who's only, he's 4 feet tall, but he can bench press a bus, and he's like, you can tell that he's legitimately scared for Brady for a reason. And then you go back and you see the kind of wrestler he was, and it's like it kind of gives you what this is a guy who had a bountiful legacy, but he also had a lot that I wish we could have seen. But the Dragon Gate was really the thing that turned me on to him, and I'm like, if it wasn't for that, I would have never, if it wasn't for Dragon Gate, I would have never got to see the Brody Lee that I loved. And that's something I'll always really love about that promotion. And it really took some of the stuff that I'd seen in the 90s. Like, you remember, the war match at Barely Legal ECW, some of the tag matches we saw in WCW among the cruiserweights. That was the right evolution, because that's why this promotion was so good, and so important to everything. And I'd put it up there with, like, they were kind of steadying the boat in the pro wrestling as far as psychology and storytelling goes until we had Tanahashi and those guys coming and some of the Ring of Honor guys developing into the 2010s, because without them, if you look at the directions TNA and WWE were going, it was spot stuff. It wasn't wrestling. And there's a lot of spots, and there's a lot of just athletic stuff. There's jumping. There's just, a lot of stunt stuff now, but there's psychology to it. And you can see that with Dragon Gate, and you can see that involved with the Bucks. It's like, the Bucks are tremendous storytellers with the ring psychology. Omega's a tremendous storyteller. I mean, the Okada Omega matches, that doesn't happen without Dragon Gate. Yeah. And I think that really, that they're such a huge part of that growth tree. And, and I'm not, just from what I've seen them, you can tell the influence. And it's just, I'm happy they're still around. It's just, you see so many businesses these days. I cover a lot of media and I cover a lot of other things. It's like you see consolidations, you see closures. So it's good to see them around, thriving, doing well. And but anyway, I've been talking too long.
So you say you like Brody Lee. Let me talk to you about Johnny Valletta. Hey man, he's the only one that got a good match out of Kakuta. Let me say that, man.
That's fact.
That's fact.
Oh God,
yeah.
Are we gonna talk about Kakuta?
We're
can get
getting
there
there
in a bit.
We're getting there, but we're building up to it. So, everybody that sort of talks about Dragon Gate in the past tense, like this is what we're doing. They were talking about it used to be, it was when I was watching that, right?
Well, okay,
and
I'm gonna couch this, and I'm gonna ask this to the room. I'm gonna ask this to Drew and ask this to Guts, which is my current take on Dragon Gate is there is a star in Dragon Gate, but he's not holding the top belt, right? I kind of think I think Ryo Tanaka is the guy, and he's clearly the guy. And it's
we all know.
And
they're building him to it, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're running main events with him. It just kind of, why have they kept the belt on Kakuta so fucking long? What the hell's going on?
Well, they've been trying to keep a steady thing. There's been turnover in the company, and I guess that probably needs to come to the forefront whenever we talk about the booking here lately of why things have gone over the past 5-6 months, the way that they have, that have been erratic and very questionable to its fan base. And bringing light the exits of two of its most prominent stars that exist in the company today opens the door. I don't know if necessarily because those guys are leaving and then he gets a promotion that it really gets him his right deserved justice, because you don't want to do it. You run the risk whenever you promote a guy from an absence or somebody leaving, you run the risk of it coming off fluky because those guys left.
Hi, Yuki.
So you leave the belts on the same people that they have been for a while, and Ryoya has a mission, and that's to become the longest reigning defending Bravegate champion in company history. They want to give him that nod before they run him up the ranks. So there's a certain dynamic there that needs to be appreciated. Daya leaving and Shun are the two guys, which Shun Skywalker is arguably the biggest star in the company, and probably the biggest guy made in the past 15 years of the company. Daya was a ticket seller for the children and a huge loss in of himself. So those two guys leaving opens the door for some of these guys, but the things that they're always going to struggle with is the same thing that every company has whenever they still have old stars in the building and the young guys leave, is they're just going to keep trying to steady the ship.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I've been feeling with Tanaka. The thing with him is that I've felt that I kind of want him to flip heel. But they've been kind of like when you watch these matches. You see it. You can see it, and just wreck his unit, and I can kind of see it, and I feel it, and I think that I understand that because they do want to have. So he's got a secondary belt for we're not familiar, and he's on a pace to set the record, and I think they want to get him that, and so they kind of been stuck with him, and I think they had some plans with Tanaka too. I think they thought about maybe taking it off. But the guys they thought about maybe taking it off, some of those got hurt. They don't want to go to Tanaka, so sorry, I got mixed up with Kakuta. I think Kakuta was shit happened, right? And they've when was the last time Kakuta actually main evented a show in the singles?
Would define main evented a show because he does work some of the shows that aren't televised. And then, if you're talking about a title defense...
title defense on top in a big show.
I mean, the last time I saw him main event was a championship carnival. That's the last time I saw him. Guts, I wanted to ask you, Guts, where are you at on, the losses of, Dia and Shun? And, where do you see them going without those two guys who are a big part of the building blocks? They were two of the big six. So what do you see happening?
So I think they've done a really good job at, first of all, I think the Reiwa 6 was more storyline than people really assume it was. I think it was a lot more just to kind of, foster some a few pushes out of that and see where people landed, but I don't think it was necessarily the company saying these are the guys. So I think because since then you've had some people who are kind of surpassing them, and I think there's a pretty big crop. I think you could almost make another big six out of the guys who've come up since. But I think, or just guys who are, who weren't in that group. Look at, how Hyo is doing lately. He's just he's massively popular now. They're pretty clearly building Gyuchi. Ishin has gotten a lot of attention. Kato's actually been coming up too. And then you've got Ryoya Tanaka and Homare, who are, the young guys who are coming up next. And I think, that's kind of who you're slotting into with the future. But guys like Daya was the way it was explained to me when I talked to people in the company was that it was just compressing it down a lot. It was just kind of he didn't have a backup plan outside of wrestling. And so he needed to figure himself out. And so I think, it is a big loss, but there's the kind of the point of having almost want to say like an ensemble cast where you have all these big units and all these big names is that you can rotate out guys, you can cycle out guys, and you can fill those slots with other people, and they keep cycling people in and out. And I think that's why they're always okay when stuff like this happens, because you saw in 2018 there was so much doomsaying when, they lost Shima and Strong Hearts and Shingo. And, then this new crop of people came in. And, yeah, I mean, also Ultimo coming back for better or worse. But, but yeah, I think
he takes at least one bump per minute.
Yeah. But I mean, there was almost like it was almost like a hard reset with the Generation War, and I think when you have that kind of system in place, which has always been, the crux of the Dragon system, is to just keep generating more and more names and doing new stuff with them. I think that's why they're always going to land on their feet at some point. And, even if you have these like transitional phases like this, and they're already starting to do that because they're, you have these, if you look at the roster page, there's all these independents. That's like the biggest block there. But, you've got Yoshioka and Minoura teaming up. You've got, like, Homar is probably going to end up with either one of these groups, but you've got Tanaka and Kimura teaming up now, and we'll see where Cielo lands. So there's a lot of that I think just Shun's going to be a big loss, but also we don't know what exactly, like, there's rumors, but we don't know exactly what Shun's status is going to be moving forward. He might just be taking time off and then freelancing. Like, we don't totally know.
I think that the strength of the system for Dragon Gate is because they're school system, and because they have been so good at like filling in and like next man up and having like a strong base. And one of my favorite things about it is like I love the salaryman Jiro Shimbayashi. I love him.
Oh, he's great.
And here's the thing: you lost Stalker, but now like you lose your comedy guys and you get like the next comedy guy coming up, right? And you can find these guys and fill it. And if you tie that, and this is the beauty of the system, which is if you've got the strong school and you've got the touring aspect because they're going to all these venues, then you can kind of like keep a strong, solid product, which I think is also going to be like a little bit more inflexible to, even if the economy is kind of shitty because they're going to all these venues, it is much easier for them to like draw like a regular number, right?
And then everyone gets the reps in too because they're doing all these touring matches.
I think with Daya, I think the thing with him, in my suspicion, right? This is again my speculation is, and kind of like there are other companies in Japan that need have a gap in the juniors, and they need a strong junior. Right? I think that eventually somebody was going to come call it, and I think we're in a space where like other companies having issues kind of will create this because again they essentially Dragon Gate does act kind of like the scout program in a way to some of the other bigger promotions because again guys who come through the system end up being bigger than Dragon Gate, right? We've had Shingo, we've had Tom, we've had other guys who kind of come up and go other. I mean, like even Ultimo is kind of it's sort of famous about that, right? Which is, and this isn't a bad problem to have, like being kind of the program that produces all the talent and having like a regular kind of business model isn't a bad thing. I mean, they survived all this for like almost 25, 30 years. And I think that like they're strong enough to survive this, right? I do think that it is kind of funny that I think a lot of things hit them at the same time and they just weren't ready to move to the next thing, right? So they're kind of in a holding pattern.
Yeah, it has been a weird year.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been extremely weird considering that the calling card of DJ for so long was the consistency aspect of the roster. Is they didn't have a high level of turnover outside of injuries, so people kind of flooding out of the company. Not that they're flooding. That's kind of a bad use of verbiage.
I
But
always
for
feel
a
like
lot
they're
of
trying
guys to be
find
kind of
something,
consistently
and
coming
it's not
in
like
and out, it's
we
kind of
kind
an
of mentioned guys
unusual
like
thing for
Lita,
the
who
company.
are
Whose
fast
hallmark
workers
was
somehow.
you saw the same
Oh yeah.
guys for 20
It's like
years.
they have
I do believe in roster
just be
turnover is
very
kind of a
solid.
necessary thing at times. I wish it
And
was
as long as they have
happening
that very
from with
solid,
the 30,
really
40-year-old
solid
plus
squad,
guys.
great staff,
But I do like, as Guts
and
was
kind of
saying,
like a very
who
kind of
who the
diverse
replacement or the fill-in
set of
guys
talents to them.
are,
I do think that,
um,
is that like
possibly have a
compared to like
higher
the 80s stuff,
ceiling
it's
than the
been,
guys who are
it's
getting
been
kind of
like
stagnant,
okay.
being middle pieces for a long time.
I don't think they're great. I don't think it's like Kikuda's been on top for a year. I don't think it's been great. I don't think it's not something that is like substantial.
No, and I think I mean, like, a lot of people are down on his title reigns, but like there's no title defense that I disliked. At worst, I think there were some that were kind of slow, and then picked up at the end. But there were some bangers in there too.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like it's more not about him. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of. It reminds me like to use a compare for American fans, like when Mox was doing his purposely kind of boring matches when he was like AEW champ at his last run, and like he wasn't the guy kind of like carrying the match. Although I think Mox can have a better match, but Kikuta I think is a guy who kind of works better off someone else, and maybe he may be a guy who works better in a different spot in a different company. I don't know that he's necessarily the right fit on top for this company, because I do think there's a level in this company where you kind of need to be almost like a Matt May on top. You know what I mean? Like you need to be kind of iconic in a way I don't think he is, and I think that kind of hurts him.
I actually really want to see him as a tag guy. I think if he got the right partner, as another member of Gutsdozer, whether it's Shimizu when he comes back, or Kai or someone like that, I think him and somebody else could just wreck shop in the Twin Gate division.
That's fair. I mean, I don't know. Like the other part is like, is he a better fit here, or is he a better fit like in Ultra? That's kind of the question for him. Again, it's not like, I want to be clear, I don't dislike him. I just don't feel like he's the guy on top. And like I can tell because my interest in the company is falling. It's like when MJF wins the AEW title belt, I just lose interest. Like I lose less interest. I'm not that interested when he's on top. Like and I feel like, but no, if Tanaka, it's like when is the next Tanaka match? I definitely want to see that, right? And that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I think, but again, this doesn't mean if someone tells me, hey, you want to watch a Dragon Gate show, I don't do anything else, I'm not going to watch it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it, if that makes sense. Right? There's a lot of wrestling coming out, so it can be kind of tricky. Like, I don't feel like they've been on the, you must watch this Dragon Gate show in the last 12 months. You know what I mean?
Usually that's contained to matches, and it's usually one of the big tag or trios matches that main event the shows, or are the semi-main, where they just go out there for 20 minutes and it's wall-to-wall banger,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the company's always been good at. That's been their key selling point. And I always try to tell people it's not as singles match focused of a company. And they do have those belts on top because that's kind of the tradition of it. But if you want to see really great stuff and see what this company really excels at, you show people the trios matches. You show them the three-way trios matches. The 9-man tags.
It is funny that I mentioned the Norteño stuff. They're very spiritually like UW, the old UWA promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Which is all centered around the trios. It's all trios. Satánicos, villanos, and all those feuds, and really, faction warfare, the different feuds, the trios. Yeah, kind of drives the bus route. Those are the trios and the. Not to say that they're not great singles. That's the thing, guys. This is very much like the luchador. Right? The luchador.
I do want to say this because Jackie Rita is probably my favorite face tag team, my favorite tag team over like the last year because of the work they put on. I'm really excited for the match they're gonna have. They're gonna have on for the junior tag team titles in Noah. I because it's something that I've been looking at. Because like that match with Ale and Dragon Bane is gonna be great. I thought that Ale's run with Kaito in Dragon Gate was way too short, but they fit in like a glove. And I do think like when we think about the top names in there, it's not really. I think about Sema and his like the Dreamgate runs, even though like he has the record for the Dreamgate. I think of him more like as the unit with Blood Generation, and I think about like his Triangle Gate runs. That's what I think of when I think of Sema.
That was always more of his role was like unit leader and like the anchor of the he was the ace when he was there.
Yeah, he was the ace, but like him in the Triangle Gate and what the Triangle Gate has usually meant in the company, not so much lately, is like this kind of signifies that your group is the top group, and it's been sort of like a little bit shuffled around this year, and that's a lot of things also thanks to injury and all that. So I'm hopeful that they're on a path to kind of changing that. But like as we're talking about the Twin Gate act being one of the top acts, Jackie Rita is hitting for me and hitting for a lot of people who do not watch Dragon Gate. And I think that they make these impressions when they do these like showcase matches in other places. And I definitely think they're going to leave an impression on all the Fujoshis that watch Noah, because I do talk to all the Fujoshis who watch Noah, and that's definitely a team for them.
You mentioned Noah, but like, would Dragon Gate be the biggest independent promotion?
I think it has been for a while.
I don't know when it hasn't been.
Well, but I mean, like, what I mean by that is because Cyber Fight, like non-Cyber Fight, effectively.
Well, you can't qualify New Japan as an independent prior to. They were still corporate owned under Bushi Road. They like if you want to go tit for tat over All Japan, we can have that discussion. But I still believe that Dragon Gate, based on its prominence, I think it has more name value at the moment. I don't know if it's doing better ticket sales. New Japan's kind of having a revival phase, but if you want to take a consistent 5-year span, DG probably still ranks it.
Well, that's where a lot of the touring shows come in too, is because the attendance records all pile up for that. Where a lot of the other majors don't get those numbers because it's just like it's cumulative,
Yeah, I'm glad this topic came up. I want to ask both of you guys this, but just with New Japan merging with Cyber Agent, at least they're owning majority shares. TVSI still got a big chunk of that, but how does that affect Dragon Gate and all this? Because they're kind of the biggest company not into that whole. I kind of like.
Yeah, I think.
I don't want to say burgeoning monopoly right now. What's Dragon Gate's? How's this position them? Is this a good thing for them? Is this a bad thing? Just how do you see it for them?
I don't know how Guts will respond, but from my perspective is I need to see exactly, give New Japan under that umbrella and some period of establishment. I think it's too early to tell exactly. I don't know that they were ever recruiting for the same people at any given time. I don't know that that New Japan now being under that umbrella is going to if it just becomes Noah Light or alternative Noah or one of these other things, then that's a different discussion. But if it just stays New Japan with different ownership, then probably steady as it sails. I don't know. What's your read, Guts?
I would say that, actually, Guts, if you want to go ahead first.
Yeah. I think what they're kind of doing is now that you have the United Japan thing, they all have working relationships with each other. So I think you're not going to see, you're not going to see poaching. You're not going to see, people getting into direct competition where they're trying to put each other out of business. Glade just joined, United Japan, so which is why you had that great moment on the last Shinjuku Face
I
show.
love that image
Yamato
of Yamato.
was forced to wear the Glade shirt, but yeah, like you couldn't do that, before then. But no, I think everyone is in a kind of a protected position where they're trying to do the whole rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way they're kind of Dragon Gate's kind of like Japanese AAA in the way that like AAA for baseball, but like independent AAA, because like they're like a little bit like college pro and a little bit, because I do think my opinion of the whole, and I've made this clear, like essentially the controlling partner of the whole sale obviously is going to decide rating. They're running the streaming service with Asahi. Asahi's not going to set up an independent office. They're going to run it through that, and we kind of know who a lot of the people who are like achieving favorite nation status in New Japan are people who have roots either in the DGT system or the NOAA system. So,
are they absorbing New Japan World?
I think we don't know that specifically. My guess is that they're going to have the same architecture. And what I mean by that is like I cannot.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have two separate cloud architectures. I do think that, and I also think that they're going to want the New Japan content for Abima, right? Because fuck, that's I don't want like TV Asahi wants all this shit on Abima, and they want to be part of that service. Now, exactly how they're going to tier that out, and I do think New Japan World is probably going to be still its own thing. But I do think the architecture is going to end up being the same because, again, it makes no sense to have a separate office. It makes no sense to have multiple vendors for the same shit, particularly when you also have, it just doesn't make sense. Now, do I know this? No, but I am assuming because this is the way mergers go, right? Whereas I do think, my opinion is I do think Dragon Gate is safe in the sense that because Dragon Gate fulfills a function, right? They go to all the towns that nobody else goes to. That's one. I think two, they also kind of act as the school and the training facility for reps. So that is a really useful thing to have. And they're also, as you mentioned, they're not going for the same talent. So it is kind of, by being different, I think that is a benefit to them, and it doesn't really kind of like affect the way the new conglomerate, right? Like it's almost like it's a little bit like it does feel like New Japan is Japan is going back to that United Japan days, like Ricky Dozan's days, right? Like we're gonna have like one big promotion really at the top, and like everyone's gonna kind of like have working agreements with each other, which is what the United Japan stuff is really. And so it is kind of a little bit like the old NWA, right?
Well, I don't necessarily want to harp on those guys too much. This is kind of a DG pod, and that's good. While I watch New Japan, it's never been my favorite. It's kind of like between DDT, Noah, and then now New Japan. It feels like WWE's acquisition of ECW and then WCW, and New Japan filling the WCW role in this analogy. It's not a 1-for-1. Don't get mad at me. Don't yell at me in the comments, please, for the love of God. I won't read them, and I don't care anyway. So they do. So by that metric, right, is Ring of Honor still carried on?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to treat DG in the same way that I am like the way that I treated ROH.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a terrible analogy. I do think it's a little bit probably to me more like when Rockets, a little bit more, and like how that when that consolidation was happening. WWE, like in some of the globalization, WWE kind of being the same role it was back then, AEW, whereas like there is this thing that is drawing talent because it's paying, because it's going to afford to pay more, because the Japanese market can't pay what talent is worth really at the top level, and people are going to get mad at me, but like you're not paying somebody $4 million a year in Japan. That's just not going to happen. I mean, guys would want to stay if you paid them.
Why did the Lek guy have to retire?
Yeah, but I mean, like, effectively. Like, I thought you were going to mention Gleed for a second. I was like, oh god, we're in trouble here. Sorry, but like, I don't want the Yakuza getting that. But I'm just gonna say that like I do think it is like so. I've always had this personal theory that like we didn't get a big new company in Japan because AEW, right? Because the way Japanese wrestling has always worked is if somebody eventually somebody splits, right? And I think that didn't happen because like that pressure to split like kind of went that energy went elsewhere, right? But it didn't. The effect on the companies that were there didn't disappear. I do think again, Dragon Gate has a different business model, and I think that insulates them from a lot. And actually, I do think it does help them. I do think I mean, if I were Dragon Gate, I would try to be positioned more also as kind of one of the places where people go on excursions, right? Because I do think they run a lot more dates than a lot of the other folks. So, and I think that is something they can kind of like work at, and it's something that's worked out in Lucha too, like having the promotion where people can go in like and work with like incredible hands and veterans and like get reps and has a proven track record of like building people up. Dragon Gate has all that shit, and I mean, we can let's win a track record of all the people coming through, and I think that is something that you can use to like carry like that. That'll help you if everyone else is going to help too.
Yeah, I don't want to be the retirement home promotion. Like that's kind of the thing is I don't want to see too many of these olds come through and try to get a payday. We already have Ultimo, so
Well, I mean, like again, here's the thing. I think the thing with the olds from Japan, that's kind of already happened. The old guys come into the US and like get like some nice paydays in the US, working like MLW, working AEW, like through the summer over here. And I think that again, that's great if they can do that. I think that what you want is the exciting new guys coming in, and that's kind of like where it gets hot. Like, can we get guys like Oiwa coming in, right?
I mean,
like the next Oiwa.
well, Flamita now has completely revived his entire image from being the guy who was kind of botchmaster, who kind of went awry, whose career went sideways, and now we think of Flamita, and we're all speaking about him back with reverence, where we did for 12 years ago.
If people haven't seen Flamita recently, I consider Flamita one of the top 10 workers in the world. He fucking rocks.
Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah.
We gotta get somebody.
Honestly, shocked nobody else has picked him up.
I mean, I'm not because I know the stories, but like, I mean, like, there's some interesting politics going on around him always. But I mean, I do hope somebody kind of like
a lot of it's really petty though.
Well, again, it's Lucha, man. Of course, it's fucking petty.
I'm so surprised that Bandito hasn't got Mexa Blood started in Ring of Honor or anywhere. Because, like, Flamita is a guy who's floating around. And, like, the only reason he got booked in Dragon Gate is because Ho-Ho saw him working in Hong Kong. And said, hey, and then brought him back over to Dragon Gate, which I think it's a fun story, but, like, that just goes to show, like, where he was at. And it's really unfair to him as a talent, because I think he is...
but, like... But okay, we've done miracles by like closing the gap between like AEW's done some miracles in terms of getting some like people we never thought were going to watch CMLL. But like how do you get Flamita in the building without offending like half of Mexico? It's tricky, my brother. It is tricky.
Yeah, that's why Dragon Gate is the place for him. Honestly, that's how I feel.
I love him, but I understand that it's complicated, man. No fault.
That's why he has to find himself in Asia and Southeast Asia. He's on one of those journeys right now.
Yeah, so. It's like
him and Keith Lee.
Anyway, but there's a lot of. I mean, like, I would say, like, they have a lot of the guys who are the best guys who are not admitted. Because again, I'm a big Luis Monte fan, and I'm shocked always at Luis Monte not getting a gig. Maybe it's just he doesn't want it, but not getting a big gig in a major American company at some point.
I'm not sure how you can look at Luis Monte and not see like dollar signs, because
yes,
look at him.
Yeah,
like watch his wrestling, but just look at him. It's insane.
We think about that about Luis Monte now, but there was talk whenever he first came into the company of like Whenever he was still under the mask of maybe he's not a fit, and he really grew into the company, and he
Yeah.
really expanded and working the dates and working the stuff and really being committed. One, earned him infinite amount of goodwill with the office because he has been incredibly loyal and dedicated. Two, his image is that he's a Dragon Gate guy, and I think he might be pigeonholed.
Yeah, I mean, I think
yeah.
I think Ultimo loves him. Let's go to
Oh, yeah.
Ultimo loves him.
Yeah, Ultimo loves him. He's gonna be a guy that and
Yeah,
and again,
he's considered family there.
Right.
And I
That
say
makes
this
sense.
because again, I think when they got the trios with him and Flamita and Oni was, oh god, that stuff was just so good. And it was kind of the same thing we saw in that 10,000 pesos match, but going on and dragging it. That was one of the best variants Dragon Gate has had in a while. And again, because those guys are just so good. And the people who they were working with are they're incredibly good. Again, I mentioned I remember them having a match in this high school gym that's just insane. And again, I do think there is a spot for this is a place for where you go to get your fastball back, right? I think that's or you go to find your fastball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that fits with the ethos of Dragon Gate, where you're gonna see something cool, right?
Yeah.
And in getting these young guys and having this pipeline for people coming in, I think it's gonna be. I mean, this is what we want to pursue. Again, there is. I honestly don't feel that there's any place better that I would trust more. I mean, maybe CMLL. I mean, the two places where I would trust, hey, well, since the young talent to get better, are probably Dragon Gate and CMLL are two places.
Because they are going to have a couple of more U.S. dates. I think they're going to work again with Defy, and then do some more dates out here. I did want to ask this because, Drew, you've seen them work the Colorado lucha scene, right?
I have multiple times. Yep. I was there for Shun. I was Estrella, a few of the other guys, a couple of different shows.
Yeah, because
they're over. So it was Shun's first showing. I'm sorry to cut you off. It was Shun's first show, and nobody knew who he was. And then he started working his bit. And when I tell you it took exactly 0 minutes for him to be the most popular guy in the building, and everybody was just doing his gaggle, just doing his thing back at him, is it's inherently lucha, and they play to it. They crowd brawl, they interact with the kids, they do a bunch of fun and fluid things.
How fast did people give their babies to him?
He was walking around there's a video of it. If you get a chance, I'll put it in I'll send it in the group, and it can find a link to it. But there is a really bad video of the match there, and he ends up walking around with a kid, and he ends up handing the kid to me because I had a Dragon Gate tank top on. So I'm holding this kid, and the kid's looking at me. Shun's already over the rail. He's back in the ring. I'm still holding the kid. I just put the kid down, and it runs back to its mom. And I just said, wow, okay, thanks, Shun.
He saw you in the tank top, brother. He saw the muscles. He thought you were a young boy. Come on.
Well, at the very beginning of the match, I don't want to. It makes me a mark for myself. I don't want to do it, but he did see my tank top, and he grabbed the front of my shirt. So I stood up, and I kind of made a gesture at him, "Are we gonna fight?" And I'm trying to convey, "Oh, you're the heel," so I'm trying to heal him up, and it got him over. Whatever I could do to help get Shun over.
Brother, he saw you could work a little, Drew. He's like, "Oh yeah, this guy, we can."
Well, he saw my 2 years of experience real quick, and he said, "All right, this guy knows what he's doing." I doubt it.
he saw the biceps and was like, "I get it." Come on, man. It's Dragon Gate. It's a body guy promotion. Let's not terse our words here.
Yeah, this is
he tried to highball me on a sticker after the show. He tried to charge me $5 for a sticker, and I told him I only got 3, and he said, "Good enough." Well, it was a conversation in broken Spanish, what little I knew from living out west. So it was a very fun interaction.
Oh, is he fluent in Spanish?
It's pretty much a requirement out of DG. It's not, but effectively everybody in the promotion knows Spanish better than they know English. It is a full-on lucha promotion. Effectively, is a lot of the communication which they do, is in Spanish outside of Japan.
Larry, why do you think the Mexa boys?
You need to book me soon at some point. I will interview.
God, look,
they'll have a whole conversation with you in Spanish.
Yeah. A lot of these guys will kayfabe you in English, and then when you hit them with the Spanish, and then all of a sudden, I guess. Well, except some guys like Yoda. Well, he speaks perfect. He speaks perfect English, but that's again a New Japan guy. But we're talking Dragon Gate here, guys. Let's terse in on Dragon Gate. I think that because what we're talking about here is their links in Mexico. We talked about what they're doing for the future, what we think are guys that they're going to be focusing in on. And I wanted to put a pause here, and I'm gonna get your guys' opinions for Kobe World, because that's happening on Sunday, and then we're gonna start this up again when we do after Kobe World, and that's just something that I'd like to do. This part is gonna be edited out, so but we're gonna start off on the Kobe World kind of thing, like hopes and whatever, and then when we come back for the back half is after Kobe World on Sunday, and then we could finish up this thing, because I was thinking of it we'll do it as a preview, but no, I think it's funner to do a whole sort of this is Dragon Gate. This is Dragon Gate, if you know what I mean. We come back for the review and all that shit. Just something that I'm just throwing out there.
Okay.
Not forcing you guys to watch Dragon Gate, but I'm going to watch it because I'm kind of hyped for this show.
You know what? I always watch the reviews. I'll be there. I'll watch it.
So, Guts, are you tuned up on what's gonna happen for Kobe World, or do you want to?
Oh yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna put a pause here, and then I'm gonna start us up.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Brandon Washburn, one of the co-owners here with Winter Circle Pro Wrestling, inviting you guys to make sure you check us out July 17th. Hunger for more, and for all news and updates, matches, as well as interviews, promos, anything content-based when it comes to Winter Circle Pro. Be sure to follow us on social media. That's at Winter Circle Pro. On Instagram, that's at Winter Circle Pro PW. On Twitter, and of course, Winter Circle Pro Wrestling on Facebook. And be sure to tap into the YouTube, and that's youtube.com/at Winter Circle Pro.
Now that PWG is more or less, I hate to say done, because you never say never, but I'll say never doing it again.
Yeah. But you know what you can watch? You can watch Epic Pro Wrestling out of Baldwin Park, August 29th. Andrew, he is the promoter, the progenitor, the man behind Epic Pro in LA. Why don't you tell people about that show, man?
It's going to be a great show. We got Bad Dude Tito facing Alpha Zoe. We got Royce Isaacs defending the Epic Pro Championship. We got Tony Deppen making his Epic Pro debut. It's going to be sick. Tickets available at bettereachday4.eventbrite.com and at the door. $30 for adults, GA tickets all over. So first come, first serve. You want front row seat, or want to pull up a front row seat, whatever, as long as you're not blocking any aisles. Kids tickets are $20 at the door only. So yeah. Bell time 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:20. We'll probably have a prelim match or two, so it's gonna be a sick show. Tons of free parking and air conditioning too.
Yeah. Air conditioning in SoCal, especially in Baldwin Park. That's where I grew up, man, and it gets hot out there. So I gotta duck into that show to get some AC because my wife doesn't let me turn it on. So absolutely go watch that show. Go to Epic Pro in Baldwin Park. Go hit up on Eventbrite. You could hit Andrew up on X. He's Epic Pro LA, right? That's Epic Pro LA on
Epic Pro LA on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube.
And we're back. Thank you for enjoying that little break we had. I hope you enjoyed that music, whatever commercials I played. Go watch those shows, go attend those events, do whatever. But we're here on the back end of the show because I think most of us here ended up watching Kobe World 2026. I mean, I would introduce everybody because they were gone. You heard them all in the first part of the show. We have Arturo, we have Drew, we have the amazing Gutsdozer back. And of course, we have I called him the Jessica Alba of this, BJ Bethel. Hey, that's a better comparison than the one I usually make.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm just hot and stupid, and I'll take that every damn day of the week.
Isn't she like a very rich now with her own company and stuff? So that's not a bad comp. Yeah,
she's made a lot of money. I mean, to put it this way, you don't see her acting or doing anything, so she must be breaking it somewhere.
She got rich doing stuff on the side.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible.
Have you guys ever heard Jensen Ackles talk about her? Because I guess he was on the show on the James Cameron show that was involving her. And he basically
Dark Angel, yes.
Yeah, Dark Angel basically said he would just rip on him all the time for being some pretty face that they brought in the middle of the show, and he's like, hey. And he goes into how she was a nightmare on the set for him, and basically she was the veteran actress and giving him crap all the time, and it's kind of funny now because you wouldn't think of a mid-20-something Jessica Alba walking around like John Wayne on a set ripping Jensen Ackles, but
hey man,
I guess that's how it went.
Yeah, I really
saw
her
sideways on that.
I saw her on Flipper, the movie. I also saw her on Camp Nowhere. She was one of my little kid crushes, and then seeing her growing in Dark Angel was pretty cool. Also, I also like that movie she did, Honey, where she dances. Yes, and Honey, shall we dance, guys? Shall we dance?
Shall we dance?
It is
tonight.
It is KZ time.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the ground running on this. It's KZ time. God,
So I was telling guys before we got in, I knew that KZ was winning the moment I saw the natural vibes routine when they're doing the 3-0s, and KZ was just all over it, super well rehearsed, all the energy. I'm he had the opposite of Boo Boo Face. I was yeah, no, he's going over, man. I'm just
he was hitting those moves.
Going, this is great.
He did the rap part, he was excited to do the rap.
Yes.
I have to own it, because in the first show I was kind of down on the idea, and then I watched the show, and I guess we're taking it from the top, and I'll admit the egg on my face is the second that 3 count went down, I made an audible sound in excitement, and I realized just how much I appreciated KZ winning, and I would just like to say, Guts, you were right. This reinvigorated me. Well, the whole show did, but I'm ecstatic to see where this goes. He calls out Yamato. Yamato says, "Hey, man, I know we made this deal, but I need something from you," and I'm all in.
And Yamato called him by his real name too. I don't know if you caught that.
That got put over by Jay really well, and as most things do, and all night Jay was just incredible on commentary, just getting stories over, and I'm enthusiastic to see where this goes.
I think here's the thing, and some of the things that I loved a lot of the show. I had some issues around the show, and I think I'll kind of highlight a little bit. One of the issues I had is it's related to where the company's in the middle of this transition, and we'll talk a little bit about some of those transitions when we get some of the other matches. But specifically, I thought it's really good that they're doing KZ and they're going back to his match with Yamato a year ago, which was a really great match. They're going to do that again, but it is a filler arc. It is a satisfying filler arc, right? It's this, what are animes that have great filler arcs? This is kind of what's going on, but really the build and the emotion was there. So this is a satisfying kind of filler arc while they kind of figure everything out that's going on, because there was a lot of shuffling on the units on the undercard that felt like they weren't it felt like it felt more like a little bit more like a TV at times because they hadn't quite figured out some of these units and alignments, and it made for some weird kind of situation. But I do think that again, I think this arc, like the KZ and Yamato stuff, was really great, and I want to call out that I thought Kikuta had one of, if not his best match as the champ. Because I thought the ending sequence and how he sold that ending sequence, particularly like when he was like out of it at the end for the submission, was really fucking great, right?
Yeah.
And I've criticized him before, but I thought he was really good in this particular match, particularly like putting KZ and like the end of that match over. That was really good, actually.
Leave it to KZ to be the ultimate sympathetic baby face that gets over getting his ass kicked all
Yes.
match like his entire career has been, and he sold it, and I was invested. And I said, this might be the best baby face in all of wrestling right now. And he has been for a long time, and he gets overlooked because of the promotion that he's in. And I'm thrilled.
When he kicked out of that,
Yeah, I mean, like
that third lariat, I was like, wow. Because like usually like Kikta like does the ass move, then does the lariat, and it's done like after like the second one. He kicked out of 3.
Yeah, they did.
And then I really love like what you're talking about, the dazed look on Kikta when he had him in the spider.
Well, I mean, like
the spider trap. They did
the Kikuta end of match sequence, right? So they started on that, which is what you're talking about. They went into that sequence and then went from there, which is why I said, like, I think Kikuta they did like this. The match layout was really good, and the crowd was really into it. Like, do we have an idea how many fans were there? Because like I couldn't really tell with like.
I heard they sold it out actually, which is
so, I mean, like
really impressive.
The crowd was really into that match. Like it's like and so I mean, like I thought like they landed that. It is, to me though, kind of a very short term angle. I don't think this is a long term thing.
No,
right?
It shouldn't be.
I think we're gonna go and we're gonna get like the hits. You're gonna get like a couple of defenses against like some of his rivals, which will be great, and then he'll basically dovetail into putting someone over, probably one of the young guys, right? Which I think is where this is kind of going. And I thought that's like, this is a really good. It's like this is, to me, like I need to see what's coming after, but I thought that they did a really good job at setting up the next. I'm gonna say like the next through the end of the year. I think this is kind of where this is probably going.
You know what
because there's a lot of like moving parts right now in terms of what's going in and out of the promotion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I love was afterwards the congratulatory tweet by one Yamato saying, that was great, but you guys were mocked by the semi-main. I believe that's the translation.
You know what? Here's the thing. Now I'm gonna get into like one of the. I didn't love the semi-main. I thought.
Wow.
I thought.
Excuse me.
I thought Tanaka was really good. I thought Hamari wasn't quite up to par yet for that match. And it gave it a feel a little bit of it kind of felt a little bit like an extended squash by the end.
Do you guys feel like?
And I thought I was gonna. Here's my complaint about that. I didn't feel like Hamari earned the handshake and going in. If they're going for that, which is you're gonna come into my stable and you're gonna be with me, they should have worked a little bit more like some of the Shun stuff, where like he's going heel then babyface. I didn't think he worked it to turn it enough.
I got to push back on that and say I think this is where Jay really got over the fact that he made a comment 3/4 away through the match that said, up until this point, this has been the longest singles match in Hamari's career.
Yes.
And I thought that one comment really, I would have agreed with you, but as they started getting that story over, he's never gone this long in a match before, it really set the stage for that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, and I thought that, but I agree with you, but basically I'm saying I need a little bit more babyface fire from Amare at the end, right? Losing, sure, but I needed a little bit more defiance and kind of like fighting spirit, if that makes sense. And again, I thought the main was better than the semi-main. In my opinion. I thought the main just landed right. It achieved what they wanted. The response from the crowd. Go back and listen to it. The response from the crowd at the end of the main was the crowd was much more into it than like the semi, right? And I'm a big kind of like how the crowd reacts to something. And I thought, and here's the thing: I'm not saying the semi-main was bad, but I push back on saying that it was in any way at the level what the main was. I thought the main was did a really good job, particularly in the closing.
It was.
It doesn't mean that I think that match was bad. I just think that the main did its job much better.
I think
right?
that the semi-main was worth to be very exciting because those two are very exciting wrestlers.
Yes.
Homare is what, like he's like just a year in, I guess, like 18 months in.
Yes.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, 18.
Like,
yeah, I was comparing that match. I don't know if you, I mean, you Pump. I know you remember this, which is the match against Yamato, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the match against Yamato was a much better kind of Homare performance, right? And I thought this one was more about Tanaka, and Tanaka was just too much for him, right? And I would have liked a little bit more fire if we're going to do the unit at the end. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying
I understand. I just I think that it gives a little bit of I understand the sentiment that maybe Hamari didn't sell the story as well as you had wanted to, but as far as pacing, it is the definitive title match to break the consecutive win for that belt.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? A lot of it is to get Ryoya over as the guy, and you don't want it going 50-50 necessarily against the guy he's going to invite to his stable.
Well, no, I agree with I agree totally that Tanaka from Tanaka's side it was perfect, right? Like I think that and again I think let's give Homare is in the spot. He's a year in, right? I'm judging him very harshly because I have very high expectations for him. He's been, I mean, I'm going back to his first match and going this guy's amazing, and I thought that there was a little bit more in terms of the selling of that I needed to say, oh, this is better than me.
Let's kind of explain what record he took. So, Pac, yes, that Pac, the bastard, he was the holder for the Brave Gate with it was about 11 defenses, right?
11 defenses.
Yes, this was number 12. So he basically.
Yeah, so it's 11 defenses.
He doesn't have.
Okay.
He doesn't have the overall win record just yet. That's 16 by Speedstar, and he's got a few more wins. But if you look at Speedstar based on dates and defenses, he defended the title every 50 days on average. Hamari's defended the title once, or excuse me, not Hamari. Ryoya's defended the title once a month, holding the belt.
Yeah.
This is a definitive big deal in kind of the lore, and I think that pairing Hamare with Kimura is just unbelievable to put those three guys together. You have Tanahashi. You have the guy who debuted against Mochizuki, and then you have the under guy who debuted with Yamato against the All Japan title holders.
Yeah,
and he's been so. I mean,
he's
I
excellent,
think here's the thing. I think the unit is great. I think the unit is exactly, it's going to be, I think what they're kind of setting up is this dominant, new generation unit, right? Which is great. I love it. It's the right guys. It's just, I mean, the thing is, I think there's to me, there's a slight beat missing because I think Homare is kind of playing a little bit of the heel, so the alignments are a little bit strange. I mean, I need to see where they're going on this, right? Maybe I'm off. I want to see how they. I want to see what the new paint job looks like.
I did like seeing Ryoya he did a slight Tanahashi thing when he got the belt after the win and did one guitar strum. Hey Guts, what did you think about that, man?
I mean, Larry, he came out in Sentai gear. How can you do more Tanahashi than coming out in Sentai
he came out looking like a common writer, did the whole thing. I was like, man, he wears the same kind of robe that Tanahashi wears, where the eye line goes to the belt line, so you can see the belt that he's having. So I like this kid. This is somebody that's going to go far in Dragon Gate. That's going to go far in wrestling, and I would say lock him in. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to be your long-term Open the Dreamgate guy after he gets away from this belt. I'm not saying instantly, but I'm kind of saying maybe instantly. And I think it's gonna be really really fun to see him grow as a main eventer because he's been main eventing. His title matches have been like the main match on a couple of cards. So like I'm looking forward to this guy.
I had two really big pops from this match. The first one was the super kick counter to the Crimson Smash.
Oh.
Yes.
And the other one was Ryoya doing Daya's DDDT.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, I mean, like, I think, like, I remember, like, there's a line from Jay on commentary. He was saying he was basically pushing what Ryoya had said about, like, no, we're not the stars of the future, we're the stars of now.
Yeah.
Which I thought, I mean, I think that's where they're going, and I'm really interested to see what this is going to look like. I've kind of argued that I feel like Ryoya should be. I think he needs to be a little bit more arrogant babyface, a little bit more tweener as they go into, like, they're going to be like the
brother.
He's had be like that. Like there was a period last year where he was a bit cockier.
Yes, that's what I want. That's exactly what I want him, but I want that full time with this new unit, right? So if that's where they're going, which is why Homare didn't really like turn that much, so it's going to be more of a tweener. Then yes, I am fully into like leather pants Ryoya. Like,
well, I've already seen
like,
people comparing this new unit to Millennials, which I think is a really cool comparison.
Ooh, that is a really good comparison.
Oh, man.
I do enjoy that a lot. Yeah.
I don't because the Millennials had the same attitude of like, oh, we're not the future, we're now, and I think that's
and also like we're not necessarily heels, we're just against a specific type of person.
Yeah, which is like only this is the only kind of like factions you have in like a Dragon Gate, because like even like all the other promotions, like we'll talk about them. We'll talk about another promotion. Like their heel stable is like a traditional heel stable, whereas in Dragon Gate things can go any other way. Which is why I'm thinking why we all love Dragon Gate is it doesn't adhere to like your typical wrestling tropes usually.
I'm personally ecstatic because they put the high school champion karate practitioner with the high school judoka champion.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Talk about rivalry.
Yeah. So Ryoya, the guy that we're projecting as Mineta Tanahashi in high school, was a champion level karate practitioner, and then Kimura, the young boy in the new unit, it was a judoka coming up. So there is play there that makes it a very a symmetrical type of unit where they all kind of have a piece. And I'd like to see them play up on some of that.
Yeah, we talk about the future, and we talk about future stables. Zenith loses to Gajo Decora in the Twin Gate match. I love Ishin. I love Badcock. This is for me. I don't give a shit about Minoru.
Like they got beaten up and kicked out of the unit, or like and then like they formed a new unit, and then they lose. I was like, okay, man.
I get it though, because like they're just forming. They're still kind of finding their legs.
Yeah,
Minoru's got this undertone now. It's like this sort of character undertone of like he's adjusting to what it's like to have a friend who actually gives a shit about him for once. And on the other side, you have Team 204 who are just like juggernauts right now. So it's like I get why they went this direction.
Clean shaven Ishin,
match
man.
makes sense in context.
Clean shaven Ishin. I'm not used to it yet, but he has a.
And they also cheated like crazy.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Them winning with the red mist into a schoolboy. Love it.
Yeah, there was some like some hidden commentary that once they form the full unit, then you can kind of maybe expect them to have like they kind of set up like the rubber match.
Yeah. Jay was saying like it was like 2 against however many are in Gajadokuro now, like 6.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's like 4,
7.
Like, yeah, there are a bunch of guys like around. You never tell sometimes.
Yeah. So it's funny seeing the new big stable that they formed kind of just lose on their first outing after a big turn by Minoru. But before that, we had the match that came back from the, I really love that in Dragon Gate and in other promotions, when they have these big 4-hour shows, they have this little break in between. I love that. How do you guys feel about the break?
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that breaks up the show for me. I like
I think
it.
every show needs an intermission, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. If you're going to do more than 6 matches, then just 15, 20 minutes to stretch your legs, especially whenever the pace is just, especially with each match they put on either side of the break. You definitely need that minute to recuperate, especially
what
with
do
the
you,
back end being so fast.
what are you guys talking about? Like WWE gives us break all the time, and like and
Yeah, but they don't to stop the matches. They just throw in something really boring.
there's a commercial of some type, or like I mean, and AEW will give us a cope match all the time. So I mean, we get a break.
Oh yeah, but the match
sorry, I'm
coming
being
back from
annoying.
intermission was the Yamato 20-year anniversary match. It was Paradox made up of BB Hulk. I'm wearing a BB Hulk shirt, guys. It's not the other Hulk. It's BB Hulk. BB Hulk rules, okay? BB Hulk, Dragon Kid, Kagatora, Naruki Doi, Yokosuka, and Yamato versus a team first year class. Because it's also, guys, did you know it's the 30th anniversary of the Torimon Gym? Or the founding of it.
Yes.
And Jay went into this was really cool. So BJ, did you know that the Torimon Gym was founded, and did you know how long that Ultimo was wrestling for? He was only wrestling for 10 years.
Wait, Torimon was founded?
Yeah, he was only wrestling for 10 years.
Yeah, he started. Yeah, he started in the mid '80s. So yeah.
Yeah. So.
But a lot of it's hard. I don't know. I think it's gotten down better before, but I haven't researched him lately. But back in the early 2000s, when I was talking to friends of his a lot and was looking into him, it was harder to track down just because he got into he like so many guys. He went to Mexico to really find his place.
Yeah.
And people don't understand this too. I mean, one of the guys considered a trainer for Okada was Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah, and that's where they founded Torimon Gym, Mexico. That's also where Okada trained, was the Torimon Mexico Gym. And it's funny because Ultimo here is teaming with his day one guys. Literally the first class, we have Don Fuji, Horoguchi, Kenichi Arai, and Kanda. Mochizuki is not really a student of Ultimo, but they both started in war together. With Mochizuki started that's kind of where he first started. You'll see some more of Mochizuki when we cover Best of Super Junior '95, where he has one of his big coming out matches where he's also a champion karateka, going up against one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Shinjiro Otani, making his debut for that kind of tournament in front of that crowd. It's kind of crazy because I watched that because I was doing a highlight video for that, and seeing Mochi as he's the same age as his son in that tournament, 30 years ago, and then
Mochi Jr.
Yeah, so he's the same age as Mochi Jr. and he's having that incredible match with Otani, who also is pretty young in there. It's crazy, but
by the way, the first listed match I have for Ultimo is in '87 in Juarez.
Wow.
Indy, Mexico, northern, Lagunero, northern Mexico.
That's crazy. So he wasn't
as a young boy.
He wasn't even 10 years as a pro wrestler. It was just 10 years of training. Okay, so
yeah, it's
oh, that's crazy.
I mean,
yeah, I love all the spots here. I love for the Genki, the Genki spot with the rubber band. They had Stalker come into the ring and take a bump after retiring. It was just fun.
No, I loved that they brought in Stalker, they brought in Super Shisa, who has not been seen around Dragon Gate for a long time.
Oh yeah,
I think since he retired actually, and also Chocoflick Keiichi, who was early Crazy Max and M2K member.
Oh yeah,
by the way, it was not the only Stalker involvement in the show either. We'll talk about that.
We could get to that. I'd just like to make it a note that I think the only really, other than Speedstar, the only real person that was missing from this is probably Kness.
Yeah.
That would have been cool to see him.
That would have been nice to see him.
But I don't think he's in a wheelchair now, I've heard. He's not doing too well.
Oh,
unfortunately.
That's
tough.
The last time we saw Kness, he worked that one match last year, I think. I think it was that match last year he worked, right? Oh.
No,
No, he's
it's
fully
probably
retired.
farther back than that.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's been a good minute since the last time he's touched a ring.
Oh man.
Just to have him around, I think that's an individual in which that Dragon Gate, whenever the 20-year or the 30-year spins around, that they kind of need to highlight.
Yeah.
He's kind of like one of those characters in which was pivotal for a time and place, similar to AC Milano, just a guy in which within lore is an important figure that kind of gets lost, but he was always around something important.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a couple other guys come out. Like, it would have been cool to see, like, Mori, or if Milano showed up. I would have really liked to see Sua there. But, you take what you can get, really.
Take what you can get.
Yeah, it was fun to see this stuff. Yamato gets the win with Galleria on who else but Hage? Who else but Hage? Hage. That always
Can
makes
that
me
put
feel
an end
good.
to the conspiracy theory about him, please?
Let's go.
No, we have to keep it going.
Hey man, he has that long hair. Okay, he still has hair on the back of his head. That counts. As a bald man myself, any hair counts as hair. Yeah, but it was fun. Well, I'm gonna talk these matches before, because I think these matches we can just get out the way. Where we had to crown the vacant Triangle Gates were vacant, so we had to crown new champions. And of course we have.
Do you want to explain the whole spiel that Jay gave about why they were vacant?
I let Guts or Drew take the lead on that.
Yeah, because... I can take the field with that one. So they so basically they've been working with Ryukyu Dragon in Okinawa for a number of years now, and even now Dragon Gate guys have all their belts, and they have for a while, and every once in a while they throw them a bone and say, like, here, you can have your own belts, but for the most part it's Dragon Gate guys. And so a few months ago they were basically like, the owner of the company, Guriken Mask, came out with a couple guys, and he said, like, well, hey, you always have our belts. Let's, like, we almost never get title shots, so let's put a belt on the line. So they put the Triangle Gate belts up, and then they actually they beat Natural Vibes for that. And then one of the members, Tilan Shisa, who was in the kind of like the whole like Shisa extended universe, was retiring. So they had a V1 defense, and it was Tilan Shisa's retirement match, and they won, so they vacated the titles, and that's why they were vacant. And then they were basically told Yamato to come to Okinawa, which he loves doing anyway, and take the belts back with him. So that's what happened with that.
Well, supposedly the other part was like they fired one of the guys who actually
that didn't have anything to do with the actual result in it, but yeah, that was Shuri Joe was one of the challengers in the last match, and he's a member of Poseidon with Punch Tomonaga in the Mozuko Tomonaga mask, and Ryukyu Dog Dingo is an Australian guy. But they were kind of vague about what that was about, but I think it had something to do with him just like breaking policy. Guriken Mask was saying something about how like he betrayed his trust for something. It might have been like substance related. I'm not sure, but I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like the point being that like, which set up the open vacant title for them to have the matches. So the thing I say that was actually kind of interesting, and I'll point out, this is a good match. Like, and again, typically the Triangle Gate matches, and then you throw in Jackie Kamei and Rita in there, and it's great. But what's up with Hyo?
He's
seems like
he's in the Dark Panthers page, man. He's wearing his panther.
He's channeling Leo Rush, and he's like nah.
He's a bit of Dark Side Hulk there.
Yeah.
He's looking like he put on some mass. Like, do you think they're gonna push him? It's not like getting a singles push down the line.
I think they might. Yeah. I think once they drop the triangle, I think he's definitely in the running for Dreamgate. If not the next champion, I mean, he could be, because like Natural Vibes and Love and Peace have had this like long rivalry.
Well, to carry on with that is, I think he would be the natural successor. I don't think if we're going to continue on with Ryoya on top with the Brave Gate, then Hyo has to be looked at as a potential because he's as over as anyone in the company. He sells merch, he sells tickets, he's gets the loudest pops. He's
Yeah,
as
He drew
over
he drew a lot of new fans from Super Juniors too.
yeah.
yes.
I think it felt to me like we might be going KZ. Then KZ gets a V1 at Yamato, and then he may be dropping it to Hyo, or like it seems like that might be the path because I mean I got that vibe. Like Hyo looked like a guy who's about to get a push.
It was a really good night for Love and Peace because they take away the Triangle Gate here. Again, big Strong Machine J looks pissed off after the loss. I would be too. But I hope like you brought that
And
up.
did you also notice his body language after the main event?
Yeah.
Yes, he was
Where
like
he was kind of
notably
he was kind of disinterested and kind of looking away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I caught what you mean. And then when Yamato comes out, he's like, it's like I got it.
Yeah, I think there's something
halfway
there, man.
halfway through this match, it kind of hit me who Jackie Rita as a tag team reminds me of. And it's not a 1-for-1, but I think that the reason that I enjoy him so much is they remind me of Paul London and Brian Kendrick.
Hey,
I can see that. Yeah,
that's pretty fun.
You know, and since we're giving Jay all the credit, Jay made a great point, and he pointed out like 5 or 6 times that like Bias was the longest running unit in Dragon Gate.
That's correct.
That is correct.
That's like calling out like a no. That's calling out a no hitter, brother. You know what's coming. That's like foreshadowing, my man. And
right.
I was like thinking back and going, like think about the body language, think about what they set up, and like I mean, I could see so you build the KZ, you give him the defense, and then you kind of like build to the end of the unit, kind of as the end of his reign, right?
And I don't even know if it needs to be a heel turn necessarily. I think it could just be Jay going his own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like as I mentioned, there's a lot of shuffling in the units right now.
Yeah,
and I think they're kind of like they're slapping a bunch of a bunch of kind of units, and that would make some sense. Like particularly like as you turn that into the main storyline while you get everything together on the other card, right? That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I do see Jay going on his journey as a singles guy. Like I said, it's a good night for Love and Peace. Kimura and Mochi pick up the win against Aki and Fuda. Against the two young guys from
I'm gonna say
Vibes.
it doesn't feel. It doesn't feel to me like Hyo, Kamei and Rita are gonna hold it for too long because I think both Hyo and Kamei and Rita are like, I think they're gonna move to like the tag and the main belt. It's kind of the feel I got.
Good thing there was 3 young boys who just formed a unit last night and have the perspective ability to win those titles.
Well, I mean, yes, but like, I mean, okay, I mean, I do think that like that also kind of requires like, are you going to put 2 belts on? I mean, maybe you can put 2 belts on Tanaka. That would work. I mean, if you're going
if you're going to establish these guys and say that we're not the future, we're here, we're now, especially with the symbolism of what the Triangle Gate represents as the supreme unit, I think getting those belts on them as fast as possible and establishing as the top unit solidifies those statements.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to Ho Ho Loon for wrestling in the opening pre-show match, getting that win with Punch and one of the guys who was from the tryout, Tristan Moody, defeated Problem Dragon.
I like Tristan Moody a lot. I think he's really impressive so far.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I
had not seen him before.
He didn't look out of place there.
I did not realize he was so short either. He's like some of these guys tower over him, and these guys are already pretty short.
Yeah. When
we skipped the
tiny. No, we're getting there.
We skipped a
We're getting there. We
skipped a very important match. You're leaving it for the main, okay?
Yeah. We're getting that one's for the main, but we're gonna get to this one because this one's right up my alley. Punk, man, I'm such a huge fan of Pancrase and All Japan Pro Wrestling, and we have a man who won the Triple Crown and is a former king of Pancrase. Talk about Masakatsu Funaki versus everyone's favorite salaryman, Jiro Shimbashi, in 2 matches. I love the first match where
Unbelievable.
Jiro takes a bow and
I
gets his
enjoyed
neck
this so much.
for the front
Funaki
show.
looks.
Oh
I would
man.
say Funaki
On commentary we see Stalker Ichikawa come out, and I think that is a sign, and in the same way that future guys pass it down, is Stalker's basically like giving his seal of approval by even coming out and like making his presence during his match.
Yeah, it was tremendous stuff seeing that, like, yeah, so in the first match, Jiro does the thing, hands him his business card with a bow, and then gets choked out. And then Jiro means business, so he starts taking off his all of his cool summer business cash, as Jay said earlier. Takes the shirt off, takes his socks off, takes his pants off, and he's wearing MMA shorts underneath, and he gets some MMA gloves, and he challenges Funaki to another match. And pretty standard stuff here. Funaki kicks the crap out of him, gets him in the
one
leg
of
lock.
the
I thought
nicest dragon screws I've seen in a while, actually.
Actually, yeah.
The Dragon Screw was really nice. Like the part I really got me cackling was like the whole thing with the umbrella, and
The umbrella
when he
rope
gets
break.
into the pinning comp, and the ref is like, no, the umbrella is part of it's part of the salaryman's ensemble. It's considered part of him, and he does the rope break with the umbrella. It's so good.
It's great. And of course, it ends with this is the only match where we're doing a full blow by blow because it rules, okay? I know you guys aren't used to us doing full blow by blow, but in the finish of the match, Jiro gets, of course, it's the phone call that comes at the end. And
he's countered out. He's about to put Funaki in a submission. Sorry, he's about to put Funaki in a submission.
Yeah.
And the call and he's the sales manager. He has to answer the phone because he could lose a client if he doesn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
So he answers the phone and he gets tapped out again because they get him and probably lost the client too. So it's very sad.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed the hell out of this. When Stalker retired, like Jiro definitely took like that baton, and he's definitely always like a highlight to me. Just a great guy that completely falls into his gimmick, and sometimes he has shades of like holy shit, like with those dragon screws. But like this was,
I am curious
fun, man.
to know what his actual background is because he kind of shows some possible MMA experience.
Yeah, his form was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like going on the ground.
As far as we've ever been told, is really he was really stagnant in the training into the dojo, and it took him a while to debut. But as far as his backstory, I don't know that that's ever been explained as much as other guys in a very unusual way. Is typically they'll tell you where they went to. I don't know. They spent daycare as children, and this guy's kind of been an anomaly, and I think it kind of works in his favor.
Yeah. Keeping that sort of like quiet about where he is, so he can surprise you with these things. His form looked really good, especially going on the ground with Funaki, which I didn't expect. Really, I thought it was gonna just be like more of like more leg kicks, more of like the dominating thing as he gets like the hope spots. But no, he looked pretty comfortable on there. So shouts to Jiro, man. Also shouts to Funaki, dude. That dude's been wrestling since he was like 15 when Inoki saw him. So like 40 years in wrestling, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I said he's 57. He looks good for 57.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I wish I looked like that, and I'm not 57.
Good. I wish I looked like that. Man. Just like it looks like a killer. Great hair. He's always had great hair. Just a cool guy, man. And of course, I left this for the last because I thought it would be the most interesting discussion. We were talking, of course.
Well, I do want to make one little note, real quick.
Yeah.
The opening main card match with the young tag.
Yeah.
I love it anytime they have an excuse to put Junior and Fuda against each other to just kick each other.
I love that, man.
It's always such a good time.
Fuda is just always so pissed off with his kicks, dude. He just gets man, that when they had that
Man,
match with the All Japan guy, I was just like, give me more of this.
like I know that Fuda went stale there for a good 6 month period of time, but I ride this wave of I love Fuda and I just want, and then there's other times I want him to go away.
Hmm.
Like he came in and everybody was like, "Oh, you're doing the Mochi thing. That's cool." But we already have Mochi still. And then Junior debuted and everyone said, "Well, we have the Junior, the actual Junior." And he gets lost in the shuffle, but he's a really good professional wrestler.
Yeah,
He
he's
is.
great.
He is. But you know, like yeah, good night for 11 piece. Got the titles, got the opening match win. You know, good luck, good job for both of those. Also, how do you guys feel
Yeah.
about Bald K?
He somehow managed to become louder now that he's like the corner man.
Oh yeah,
Those balds, you know what I mean?
yeah. Man.
By the way, for Funaki, you wanna hear his New Japan Dojo class?
Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Shoot.
It's Liger, Keiji Muto, Shinja Hashimoto, Suzuki, Shono, and Chris Benoit.
So you're telling me the greatest professional wrestling class in the history of professional wrestling?
The history of time. Yes. That was his dojo class.
Oh man.
Got it.
Yeah, that's great.
Holy crap.
That's crazy.
Oh, I love that.
Jeez.
Yeah, absolute legend, man. Like Inoki saw him like doing some kickboxing at the kickboxing club and said like, I gotta bring this kid in, and he's like 15, and like it's crazy. Him and Minoru just still going to this day, still looking as they do.
I mean, like he debuted, like he was in the Young Lions Cup at 15, which is kind of insane. That's ridiculous shit.
Yeah, man.
This is
We talked about it. Like when these guys graduate from middle school, they make these choices like Okada choosing to go to Mexico, or Nakajima becoming a wrestler. Guys like so many young guys deciding to, you know what? Instead of going to like the third year of high school, I'm just gonna do this. It happens. It's pretty cool. Sometimes. But it's pretty cool that guy's still going after like 42 years in the business. But one of the big things about Dragon Gate has been like their biggest stars. These generations are defined by like aces, for lack of a better word. We're talking guys like Shingo Takagi, guys like Sema, guys like Yamato, and for this generation, that guy has been Shun Skywalker. This is his allegedly last match for Kobe World for Dragon Gate in Sumo Hall. They were quick to say will not be his last match in Sumo Hall. So I thought like this was the kind of like craziness that would be good to go out on, because they had to disband Saipatra because of Homare losing that match, and because Johnny wasn't there for that disbanding, he said like, why is my group not together? They decided to get the band back together for one night, as we have Saipatra group of Cielo, Johnny, and Shun versus Flamita and Luis Mante teaming up with Dragon Bane of Pro Wrestling Noah, and Gaja Kodora crew of Jason Lee and Kai teaming up with Alpha Wolf, who's representing Team 2000X. 13-13, really short match, but it's all the craziness you want from everybody.
I thought everyone pulled their weight here.
I'm happy this was a sprint. I didn't need a long john, but yeah, Monte putting the mask on for it, I thought was an incredible touch. I enjoyed most of what I knew that it was going. It's largely going to be what it was as a sprint,
Yeah.
and I had a bunch of fun with it. I think the rest of the show told me that Dragon Gate is safe in the future without Shun. as much as he'll be missed, I think it opens up a lot of things because he is the guy in which the universe revolved around for 5, 6, 7 years. And I think him leaving really opens a lot of doors. And I'm really, really genuinely excited to see what directions they push with this. I think they've heard the criticisms. I think they gave a lot of bout of confidence on this show, and Shun will be missed because he's an incredible professional wrestler and a top 10 in the world. You can yell at me all you want to. If you've never seen him really work, then I doubt you have the ability to speak on it. Then I'm fortunate enough to have seen him throughout his career.
Yeah, and they also mentioned that he will be back for Gate of Miyane, so it's the next appearance at Korakuen is not going to be the last we see of him in Dragon Gate.
Well, I mean, he's going to have his, I believe he has his own signature show, and that should be his last one in the company, I believe. They're doing...
It'll be Seiji Miyane is going to be hosting, I believe, his 3rd annual show.
What is his last date? Do we know?
So it's going to be the August Korakuen, and then he'll show up for whenever that Miyane show is.
Yeah.
I also got to say the partnership with Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah, is pretty cool. The Jackie Rita versus Ale Dragon Maid match was pretty awesome. If you guys watched that.
I haven't seen that yet. I got to check that out.
Yeah. It's already spoilered here, but really good match. I mean, if you saw the entrances, you already know the results of it. But yeah, check it out if you guys have Wrestling Universe. But you know what you should have? You guys should have the Dragon Gate Network. Some of the best stuff on Dragon Gate that you can have anywhere. Even goes back to some golden days with that stuff. And if you don't have money for the Dragon Gate Network, you could also go on Gaora TV. Their YouTube account posts some really great current and classic Dragon Gate, even some classic Torimon stuff. Check it out. Go ahead, Numbers.
And if you enjoy Dragon Gate coverage and you want to hear more of it, tell Doc down in the comments, and the prescription will do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love doing problematic Dragon Gate here. That's what I'm calling this, by the way.
I do enjoy doing problematic Dragon.
Yeah. But it's we've been talking about this card, and like we've talked about what we see out of it, and for like the last year, people, I'm not gonna say last year, probably like more like the last like couple 7 months, people have been really down on this company compared to where they were at End of Gate, where there was a little bit of light, and then like they had that run with Kuta, and like it never really picked up any sort of steam. And we're here now. There's no longer going to be Dia. There's no longer going to be Shun.
I mean,
and we're looking at like this future that I think is pretty damn bright. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts.
I think in their defense, I think the initial plan with this Kakuta run had a lot to do with what their plan was for both Shun and Saipatra, right? So,
and whatever Shimizu was going to be doing too.
Right, and the big box, and I think whatever the end game for Cielo was, because I mean, Shun was working toward the face turn, and I think some of that was kind of inherent in the way he worked some of those matches, right? And I think that was coming, but I think obviously they couldn't come to a deal; they had to reshuffle and clear the decks and kind of do that. So I think a lot of the stuff going on is a product of them having to just I think what has ended up happening is they're reshuffling the units. I think they're moving some people up earlier. I do think Tanaka was probably eventually going to be kind of undeniable, but I do think they're moving up the timeline on him, right? And I think probably Hyo is a guy who probably is going to benefit too. So I think they've had to shuffle out, and I think they've pulled the KZ KZ in case of emergency, right? Which I think is fine. I think now they seem to have something kind of as a plan. We'll see how it goes now that we're past the kind of. Again, I think that reign was the end of the booking that they essentially had to set on fire, right? And I think that
Well, this is I think this opens a bunch of doors. I think
Yes,
there's like this is a company in which produces trainees very regularly, and we don't
yes.
know who's able to debut in lieu of all of this to get time on the card. There might be a kid out there right now that like while we're all like frothing at the mouth to see more Ryoya and Hamare and Kazuma and all these guys and and the older guys are now getting pushed to the old man tags is there might be somebody in the wings just waiting to debut that we're all also stoked about.
Yeah, you
Right. I
know.
mean, I think, and as you said, they do a great job of putting, of having the next guy up, and I think that, like, really, I mean, I think that this was the first show where we've gotten it for the last 6 months, where you get the hint of the guys who are going to be next up, and I feel like those guys who are next up are real and exciting, and it's going to be. I mean, we got Kamei and Rita, we got Hyo, we got Tanaka, we got Hamare, so. I'm missing people, but like we have Cielo, we have a good class kind of that's ready, really. Yeah,
And then also, speaking of new guys coming in, we've got those 2 debuts coming in next week, which are finally debuting after over a year of being at ringside, which also means we will probably see new people at ringside too from this year's class.
I just love that. That's the part of Dragon Gate I love is like it never stops.
Oh, I keep
moving.
an eye on that. Like I was actually keeping a spreadsheet of appearances for about a year.
Do you think? By the way, do you think that that Gianni dragging one of the trainees off will like pay off? Or yeah,
I'd like to see that become something. Yeah, they could. I think Jay was speculating that they might have a handicap match against him.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking. So Gianni, I'm assuming, is he going to stick to Cielo? Is he going to go into a new unit? Is he just going to go away? What's the?
Well, we've got Rey de Parejas coming up next, so I would say that he's probably going to be in a team with somebody.
Okay. I mean, do they? What is Cielo? Actually, that's a question. What is Cielo doing now?
Well, probably still trying to get his legs underneath him. If it truly is TN Revolution, he is coming back from a blown knee, and he hasn't worked a whole lot. He hasn't done too much singles outside of the tournament. He's kind of been trying to get his wings. And TN Revolution is a guy that I banged the table on for a long time.
I think you could easily put him into either of the new units.
Yeah,
he's working. I noticed a little. One thing I noticed is he's working very base like, and what I mean by that, like he is kind of. I think Jay works like that a little bit too, where like he's working like more stand up and more like the base as opposed to the flyer. It doesn't mean he can't do that, but I do think that is a style that's probably going to help him, particularly if like he's trying to get his knee under and like kind of get like some confidence back.
Well,
but he is good. I agree with you. He's good, and you can't keep your eye off him when he's on the screen. Is the thing I noticed in CL. It's like, oh, he's there. He's like, oh,
just like Flamita.
I noticed him even in these matches. I'm like, yeah, by the way, I'm gonna bitch about Flamita because I keep defending him as one of the best workers who's not signed by a big company, and he showed up out of shape. It's like, did not like that. But keep going.
Yeah, he had too much beer and rice, man. Too much beer and rice.
Yeah, it's like Shaq. He shows up and he's gonna get in shape by working matches, and yeah, god damn it, man. Sorry, keep going.
I feel like Cielo has kind of taken on a style pretty akin to what Monte is doing in terms of the flamboyancy and the way that he presents himself and a lot of the things.
Teaming, right?
He's still he's a not I don't know. Cielo hadn't done really too much since the unit is broken up. I think they're trying to find a place for him. He'll find a landing spot. I don't know if necessarily that pairing him with Minoura and Yokiosha is probably a good idea.
No.
And then I'd like to see him opposite of Ryoya and opposite of Hamare. So I have hope that he kind of gets his own thing. I don't know who that would be, but he was supposed to take over a unit before he blew his knee out. And I think they're trying to I think I would have hope that they try to work him back into that spot where TN Revolution becomes a head guy.
I mean that's kind of what I'm asking. It's like, is he going to be part of a unit or be part of or just kind of stay on the, because again, as I said, like he does seem like I saw the stuff with him against the snake unit, and I know it's like I know they have a name. It's just like I'm just thinking about him as the snake unit, and he, I mean he does kind of need some people for that, right? And as we're shuffling, he's one of the more interesting prospects because every time I see him kind of he jumps up the screen at me, which is generally like a good sign, right?
Yeah,
well, you don't really see guys that shoot 6'2" that are able to do the things that he's able to do.
Yes.
man, the cartwheel
No, but I mean, like he
splashes.
has even more than that. He has physical charisma when he moves around, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
if only he could talk. You know, if only he could talk.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think, Guts? Where you at on this?
I would like to see, like, there's always this background thing of Kato saying that he knows who he is and that he's got to achieve something in order to get another match with him. But, when they're actually going to do that, who knows? But, I think that's something you can build to for a long time. If he wants to keep wearing the mask, I think everyone just sort of assumed that was going to be like temporary, like within his first year, but he's still going with it. So I don't know. I think that is something you can build to, but I think the timing has to be right for it and the storyline has to be in place for it.
Yeah, I thought they built to it to King of Gate for their match because they fell in line and they had that match, and then Kato needs to be the one because whenever he went down, Kato adapted his finisher and he's still using it to this day, and there's so much underlining stuff between those two that it kind of falls on Kato's desk to kind of take that mask from him. But it is a time and place thing. I don't know how much juice they necessarily have left in it, though.
I think it's something you can put down and revisit, though.
Sure.
I think that Cielo and Johnny would be a good twin gate defense. That'd be a good twin gate defense. But I do want to say I want to thank everybody for coming here, for listening to us gab about Dragongate, because this is really my favorite promotion. Like, let me be serious for a little bit. If I can be serious for a moment, to quote another famous Canadian, I've loved Torimon since like '99 when I bought the tape from the swap meet, and I've been following Dragongate itself since 2004. And it has these ebbs and flows to it, something you don't really see in other promotions, but they always prepare for the future, and they're always preparing the future, and they're always like ahead of like where they're at, except for that one period when we call that the lost generation that Pump was talking about for a little bit in the 10s. But I think like they really found themselves like in this decade from the 20s and all those guys they've built up to be in these big six spots. And I think that what we have here in Dragon Gate, especially after this show, is a lot of enthusiasm. I'm seeing a lot of enthusiasm online. I'm seeing a lot of people like wanting to see like this show because of all the enthusiasm for it, and I'm happy about that. And I'm never here to be a gatekeeper. I'm never here to like tell people like, oh, you better do your homework. But I'm just saying like, this is one of those matches one of those like shows where you could just jump in, watch, and like say, hey, that's pretty damn good wrestling. And sometimes that's all it takes. And I'm really happy with this show. Is it their best wrestling of the year? Probably not, but it's some of the most excited the crowd's been, some of the best moments I've seen this year, and some pretty good wrestling.
If everything is landing at 3 3/4 or 4 stars across the board, that's the type of show I want to watch. I don't want to watch large variants. I don't want to watch a boring card and a single 5-star match. Give me an entertaining show top to bottom. And that's what this promotion delivered. And I'm enthusiastic and I want to promote it.
Yeah. That's why we're here.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And we always do promotions at the end of the show, and since like his phone died, I want to see follow BJ Bethel at BJ Bethel Tweets on Twitter. Follow his Substack at bbethel.substack.com. He writes for SE Scoops, so you can see his stuff there. But I always recommend you guys just listen to BJ talk with me and Arturo here on State of Wrestling. That's where I love to hear him. By the way, also on Round Ball Rock. But you know, we're on hiatus for now, but we'll be back. And you know, Arturo, I know people can catch you on Twitter at American Numbers. You know, this week I did a big show. I'm not a big show, but I did a call for one of Arturo's favorite matches, Samoa Joe versus the Necro Butcher and
Necro
IW
Butcher,
Mid-South.
yes.
They are having their Dark Side of the Ring episode on, I think, this week. Yeah, so this is coming out Thursday, guys. And I think that this that the call I did, it was pretty fun because I do it with Matt. We call it Deathmatch Royalty. But we also had the great Jim Fannin, who was the commentator at the time for IWA Mid-South. And he has some great backstage stories on there. And he also has a pretty good Dark Side of the Ring style story for Jeff Jarrett, who had his last 3 episodes last week. So if you guys are interested in that and trying to see like what story Jim told about one King of the Mountain, go ahead and listen to that. But you know, me and Pump here, we do Problematic Dragon. You listen to Problematic Dragongate, and we have one of the best Dragongate YouTubers out there, Gutsdozer, joining us for this. And where can people follow you, Guts, if they wanted to follow you?
Just Gutsdozer on YouTube, and I'm going to be doing some updates on what do I have coming next? I think I have I'm going to be doing another roster update because some people's gimmicks or personas have changed. I have to update the units. A little behind on that. Otherwise, I'm going to just kind of a lot of the time I just do whatever kind of content I feel like doing. So I do the like short little bite-sized podcasts sometimes, and if there's a topic that I feel like I need to get across, and then otherwise, the next thing I'll probably be doing is a tag league preview.
Awesome. I definitely love your previews, man. Whenever anybody asks me what's going on in Dragon Gate, I just send them a Guts video and we're good. Like, I'll really want to thank Guts for joining us here on our channel, description channel. It's really cool to get guys like him on here and like just to provide that for the people that listen to here, because I know a lot of people that listen here are already informed fans. So having like people I respect come on here to talk about a wrestling promotion that they actually watch, that they actually care about, it's great. Isn't it great, guys, to talk about wrestling you care about and to be happy about it? I'm so happy to
It really is.
Like you're talking.
Get offline, people. Wrestling is fun. Watch in U.S. indie wrestling. Watch Puerto Rico wrestling. Watch more of the good stuff that you can find.
Watch
that
things you
actually,
like.
Yeah, my gosh.
Please.
Yeah.
Stop hate watching. It sucks.
Dude, I went to...
It is kind of...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Arthur.
I get disconnected from... I got disconnected from the... kind of the site guys and kind of the online discussion during the World Cup, because again I was paying attention to the World Cup, and God, it's so much better because like
I'm so happy.
You come back and it's like I came back, I was like joking, I came back and like the WWE fans were talking themselves into like a Nick Aldis switch, which is fascinating. But also like there's so much like silly discourse that you're like, I mean, who the hell cares?
It's all bad faith too.
Well, I mean, like, it is like
because what it is it's people who don't watch and only get like clips or read results.
Well, by the way, like let me the fun story, which is like I was doing, and I do this occasionally. I've done the ratings analysis for a bit. And I'll do it, and I'll talk to Dave about it, and we'll tweet about it. And it's funny because like we're putting this out, and people are losing their minds about this because Brian like criticized Dynamite because it was bad, and then like he put up like a number that hadn't, like it might be a top 5 number for them on TV. And we're putting this out, and like people are like, getting all mad. And Dave's in Arena, Mexico, and I'm like walking at the beach because I'm staying at like the beach, and I'm like literally walking. I was tweeting from the beach to Dave, who's in Arena, Mexico, and people are losing their minds. Like, go out, touch some grass, watch what you like,
hey,
stuff
man.
to enjoy. Like, why do you care, man? That's
think,
like, come on.
I think the 4 of us are actually this is the only podcast you're gonna hear from people who actually live on coast. So. Eat that.
Yes.
But
it's kind of funny.
I think like you get offline, you stop getting like so involved in these conversations, you watch the things you love. Like I went to an indie show, Winter Circle Pro. They're out here in Southern California. Saw a couple of people I like. Saw one of Pump's good friends, Zamaya, live, and she is a goddamn star. MLW.
She's worked up here before. Yeah, I know Zamaya.
Yeah, MLW did the right thing by signing her. My God, stars.
But by the way, shout out to Dave for hanging out with Octagon, friend of the podcast, Octagon.
Yeah.
We love you, Octagon.
We love Octagon here. That mask is only for you and who you say is the real, Octagon leader.
Yes, Octagon.
El Hijo de Octagon.
Yes.
That's the way it only should be. That's it.
Yes.
But that's it for me here. That's it for us here at Problematic Dragongate. Pump. That's what I'm calling this. Whenever we're talking Dragongate, it's Problematic Dragongate. So I want to thank everybody for coming here, having this talk with us, and listening. Please subscribe to the Dragongate Network. Please subscribe to this podcast. Please subscribe to Gutsdozer's YouTube, and please follow Arturo because we're about to have the NFL season start up and the MLB playoffs, and you know how Arturo rocks on those things. So keep posting on those things, and as I say on everything, hasta luego. See you next time.
Thank you.